regarding site plan review. Bob, do you wish to explain that further?
Yeah, the proposal is to include some additional changes in the site plan review process, specifically where there is extensive remodeling, as there was in a building recently on Niagara Falls Boulevard. That would trigger, if there would be an addition that exceeds 25% of the existing gross floor area, or alterations that exceed 50% of the existing gross floor area, or if there is a commercial and industrial accessory structure that exceeds 600 square feet, or any change of occupancy per the New York State Building Code. This would mean if there was a significant change in usage, site plan would be required. There are exceptions for 1, 2, or 3 family residential dwellings, so it wouldn't apply to the residential zones or to general farming use, but it would involve commercial structures or industrial structures. And as I said, there was a recent situation where it would have been particularly helpful, or is particularly helpful.
Do any of the members have any questions or concerns? Melissa is here from the planning board. If anybody has any questions for Melissa.
Supervisor, if I can just add something too.
Please.
Part of this was that the way the code is written now for when site plan review is necessary is not really matching when the town's been doing it. In other words, the town's been doing it when there's been a change in use, a significant change in use, but the code really hasn't said that. There's good reason to do it, but the code hasn't said that. So it's it never talked about renovation. It talked about 25% expansion, but yet you could go in and renovate the whole inside and change the use, and the code didn't say you needed a site plan. And so it was to make it consistent with what the town's been doing for the last 10 years anyways.
So an example would be the motorcycle place that moved from up here over here in the old Good Time Charlie's building.
Yeah.
That should have been reviewed ahead of time, is that what you suggested?
Well, it was. That was reviewed, but the way the code was written before, they didn't do an expansion of that building. It really didn't need site plan review the way the code was reviewed before. Yet the total use of the site was totally changing. The whole inside of the building was getting renovated, and a site plan wouldn't have been required. So it's really just making the code consistent. And the other thing is, I believe, and it's been a while since we looked at it at the planning board, but I believe it also limited like accessory structures or add-ons less than a certain square footage, like for principal accessory structures are excluded. Is that right, Bob?
Well, it would only be required for structures, accessory structures that exceed 600 square feet. So that's how we would get the exclusion.
Okay.
Would there be any extra fees involved with these site plan reviews?
Just the normal site plan review. If it kicks in a site plan review, required.
Any other member have any question or concern on this? If not, then I'll open to the floor. Anybody on the floor who wishes to comment or ask questions on the site plan review code change? Is there anybody who wishes to comment on that? One last time, is there anybody who wishes to comment on this time? Are we taking any action on this today?
Yes, on the site plan, seeker's been complete, so it can be adopted by the board.
With that in mind, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion to close the hearing with a second. Anything on the question?